And welcome to the Howard Eskin Show. And it is live as it comes to you right now on Wednesday night. There's a lot going on in college basketball, and it's not just the Final Four. There's so much more going on. And there's a local story that's kind of popped up over the last 24 to 48 hours. And we're going to talk to longtime coach who always keeps it real. And that would be Phil Martelli. But before we get to Phil, let me tell you that I want to thank our partners and our sponsors, Piazza Property Pros. I want to thank them. I want to thank Cut the Cord with Jason. When your cable bills are too high, you can do something about that with Cut the Cord and Jason. And Audi of Westchester, a beautiful dealership. It's out on Wilmington, I guess it's Wilmington Pike, but I'll get the exact address for you. 202 Wilmington Pike. We'll get all that for you. But let me tell you about, before we get to Phil, let me tell you about Piazza Property Pros. Now, I've used them for my pool. Now I'm using them for my landscaping. Their expertise can come to you. So you want a new pool, an in-ground pool. We all want a new pool. But there's ways to figure it out, or pool renovation. Piazza Property Pros. Company's been around for 25 years. That's a lot of experience. 25 years they specialize in turning your property into a vision that could be reality, with top-notch craftsmanship, unmatched customer service, unlike other companies. They don't subcontract. They do the work themselves. Excavation, handscaping, fencing, landscape, pool maintenance, everything done in-house by Piazza Property Pros and their people. So that's why you can trust them. I trust in them, and I do trust them to deliver exceptional results, time and within your budget. You can call them. You can call them now. You can call them whenever. 610-566-2608, and you can schedule your free consultation. A free consultation, or you can go to the internet at piazzaoutdoor.com. Don't wait. You can have some fun this summer, and you can take care of your ground while you're doing the same thing. Also, one of the things that drives people crazy, it really drives me, every time you get your cable bill, every month you get your cable bill, what happens? You look at it and says, are you telling me they increased the price again? Again, what did they do? They just increased the price. So now you can take care of all that. Cut the cord with Jason. He offers an incredible service that will save you money. And it could be at least $100 a month. He'll come out to your house, cut the cable off, set you up with a less expensive internet service with streaming services, which include all the local and national channels. So you don't have to worry about that. You'll still get to see all the Philly Pro teams. And just in time for the Final Four, you might not get it hooked up in time, but you can get everything. You'll have multi-screen viewing. That's right. You can view 4 things on the screen at one time, 4 games, 4 whatever, for more information, and to save yourself a lot of money. And remember, you can hook up another house if you want to without any additional cost. Call Jason, and you can call him at 215-801-5858. That's 215-801-5858. And now, the thing that we all need a car, don't we? We all need a car. Well, how about Audi of Westchester for your car? Now, because of the tariffs and all the other things going on, while supplies last, no tariffs on all in-stock vehicles, since Audi Westchester, and they're part of the main line, Audi Westchester, remember that name, part of Mainline Automotive Group, you'll have access to the largest selection of new and pre-owned Audi vehicles in the tri-state area. You know, I stopped into the showroom a couple times. Actually, Saturday after the show, I stopped in. Busy day there. Said hello to a few of the customers. Nice. The people there are nice. Everything. It's a fun environment to go into. Audi of Westchester. Check out their all-new facility located at 1421 Wilmington Pike. Right now, no tariffs on all in-stock vehicles while supplies last. Check it out. AudiWestchester.com. That's AudiWestchester.com. All right, our guest on this podcast on the Howard Eskin Show, Phil Martelli. who's been around coaching for a long time. I don't want to make him sound old because we're not old, we're just older. He's been around a long time. We all remember him probably from St. Joe's for his 24 years there, an assistant 10 years before that, and he was at Michigan the last 5 years as an associate head coach and an active, he was an active head coach for a little while during that time. Had some great years at St. Joe's, and let me welcome Phil Martelli. Phil, welcome to the show, and thanks very much.
Howard, thanks for this invitation. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean that's a long time coaching. Did you ever get tired of it, of coaching?
No, I never got tired of it because I always focused on the relationships and the memories that you could create. And my time at Michigan, I was able to create some different relationships with managers, with alums, with former players, with other coaches in the Big Ten. They weren't really in my circle. So I would create those relationships, and most especially the players, and then to have a chance to build on those memories, to be able to say to people, I went back to the Palestra the last year. Juwan Howard was kind enough to name me acting head coach when we played against Penn State. My son's on the other staff at Penn State. So I never got tired of it. I never got frustrated with the way that it's going now. It was just time. It was time to come home. Judy had never left media, and it was time to do some other things, most especially concentrate on my grandkids and my children who are flourishing this particular week, Howard.
Yeah, that's all good. Well, that's good. But here, you kind of poo-pooed it like you deal with what's going on now. Now you dealt with it for a few years, obviously at Michigan. This NIL is a joke. The NCAA tournament is not fun for me anymore, and I'll tell you why it's not fun. I already knew there's not going to be any Cinderellas. There's not going to be any surprises. There's not going to be any of that. And it's either the 1, 2, or 3 seed, and now it's all the 1 seeds, and it's the teams from all the power conferences who pay the most money. And how could, we all remember Villanova in '85. That was the most exciting. I mean, Jay Wright doing it too a couple of times. They weren't supposed to get there either. But that can't happen anymore. I mean, Drake's was a good team. There were some other teams that were good teams, but they have no shot. They don't have the same players. And then I'll get into the portal in a second. How can you think that college basketball is good right now?
Well, there's just a couple things there. One, I think we have to stop, and I'm surprised at you because you have never stopped. Stop calling it NIL. It's straight up pay for play.
Right.
Right. And then when this settlement comes in, I guess it's end of June, where there's legitimately, you are going to pay your players a certain salary, and then anything above that they can make off their name, image, and likeness. So better, worse, different. It's certainly different. It feels different. We spend so much of this season talking about, well, these are new teams because of the transfer portal, or because I wonder how much money that guy's making. The thing that I would ask people to embrace is when they go on the floor this week, it is 5 kids from Duke, it's 5 kids from Auburn, it's 5 kids from each of the schools, Florida, all of those. So that part of it is still basketball. Same thing I say, Howard, to coaches. Like coaches say, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. I asked them a simple question. Do you wear sneakers to work at 3:30 every day? And then at 6:30 each day, coaches decide, are they general managers? Are they financiers? Are they raising money? What are they exactly doing. I get it. I get it. The beauty of the tournament was Butler. The beauty of the tournament was Roley's 85 team. And there are other teams along the way. George Mason made the Final Four. Florida Atlantic made the Final Four. VCU made the Final Four. Right? You and I go all the way back to like 4 to score, and Jim Lynam's team beat the number 1 ranked DePaul team in the country.
So I was there. Yeah.
We need that for the good of the game. And I'll be honest with you, I think that yes, the power conferences have taken over the tournament. They've come up with the secret sauce. They're not worried about net and all those, the bracketologists. They came up with the formula to beat the system, right? But they're never going to take the tournament. They're always going to have a spot for the Bryants of the world, for the LaSalles, the St. Joe's of the world. They're going to let you in. They're going to let you in. They're going to let you nibble at it a little bit.
Yeah, but the problem with that, Phil, the problem with that is they let you nibble, but some teams that used to be able to nibble can't go very. It's just, I heard Bruce Pearl a few weeks ago, a good coach, when he paid players when he wasn't allowed to, that was one thing. Now he can pay them and he's allowed to. But the reality, there should be 14 teams before the selection, 14 teams from the SEC. Well, there ought to be a salary cap, and let's find out what these conferences are paying. How much is this conference paying players? How much is this conference? And stop all that nonsense. It's not fun. It's not fun because we know there's not going to be a Cinderella that wins a national championship or even gets to the Final Four. It's fate. It's ridiculous.
Part of this next part of the settlement, Howard, is that they are supposed to go to transparency. They're supposed to tell you exactly what Howard Eskin is making at Temple, so you can look at it. You also, because you're crossing over into that area, the whole transfer portal, like these used to be kids that didn't play transferred. Okay.
Right.
Now you have all league kids transferring. You have kids leaving the Ivy League because the Ivy League doesn't pay. And how much am I worth? How much can I get? And at some point, somebody has, and it shortens coaches' careers. Because if I'm going to give you the money, Howard, to go out and get a team, and the best you can give me is an NIT, or the best you can give me is, well, next year we're going to be, well, no. That's not a return on investment. The return on investment is that coaches really have 2 years now to kind of get this thing done. And you can do it. You mentioned Drake. They did it, right? They won 29 games, bringing 4 Division II players with the coach. But this has clearly shortened coaches' careers.
Okay, the transfer portal. After the first weekend, over 200 players entered the transfer portal, and I believe some of those players were still playing for the team they're with currently. They were with currently. It's all about. It's better than professional sports. You can be a free agent every year.
No. It's worse than professional sports because there's no parameters. Howard, here to me is what they did. They put you in a car at the top of a hill, and they said, your goal is to get to the bottom of the hill. You can drive as fast as you want, but we want to tell you something. Your car does not have brakes. It does not have seatbelts. Good luck. So if that was the case in real world, somebody would make it to the bottom of the hill. By the grace of God, somebody would make it there. But there'd be a lot of things over the cliffs, and and 200. It's approaching 2,000 kids are in the portal that opened last Monday.
Oh my God! It's just okay. So here's another problem, and tell me if I'm wrong. And I saw it somewhere. It's on. I think it was on social media, which is not social and it's not media, but it said the average age of the Auburn players is 23 years old.
Yeah, they're older.
How does that happen? What's going on anymore? You just keep guys there?
Well, everything came at once, like this. If you want to call it the perfect storm was this. You can transfer as many times as you want with no sit out. Number two, we're going to pay these players. And number three, we're still not beyond the COVID year. So there are guys in their 6th year of college because they got their COVID year. I saw that the other day. I think there was a what do they call it, a graphic came up on their game. And I think the youngest player was 23 in their starting lineup. And one of the players that's making a difference for them is a 19-year-old freshman from New Jersey, and they all call him the young one. His teammates refer to him as the young one.
I just saw the center for Kansas. I forget his name. 23 years old, and he entered the transfer pool. He's still eligible to play college basketball?
That was April Fool's. I just spoke to him this afternoon, by the way.
Okay.
He's a close friend. Yeah, he played 2 years at Michigan, transferred to Kansas. The amounts of money were breathtaking. And and because he is like a bit of a character, that he was going to have a 7th year of college next year.
What happened to the 4 years of eligibility and that's it? I mean, wasn't there a rule at one time? That was it, 4 years.
5 years to play 4.
Okay.
COVID added a year. And how they've gotten their 6th year, Howard, I don't understand it. I really don't.
It's awful.
I'm on the inside saying, I don't know. And people will call you and say, hey, we're going to try this and we're going to try that. We're going to get a waiver. We're going to play more. And I'm like, the only rule that I know of right now is there are no rules. That's the only rule. I'm
telling you, that's why I used to like to watch. I would watch the tournament because I knew there's going to be an upset somewhere. There's going to be an upset. And there are no upsets. There's no fun watching some team out of nowhere beat one of those big teams and put them in their place. I mean, that's good for the fans. It may not be good for the coach, obviously, but it's good for the fans. I mean, for instance, when you were at St. Joe, one of the years, and you were the undefeated year, you went 27-0 in the regular season, and you got to the Elite Eight. Mm-hmm. Does any and you can give me Villanova until you're blue in the face. Does any team in the Big Five have a chance to get to even the Elite Eight anymore with the way these major Power Five conferences are paying people? No. I mean, Howard, I need to do an advertisement, though. The young guy, Aaron Bracey, has a book out called A Soaring Season. It's about the 03-04. I know Aaron, yeah.
Hawks.
Yep.
Without question, anybody, every sports fanatic, every Philadelphian, get your hands on it. And here's what I'm going to wager for anybody out there.
I think he quoted me in that book somewhere.
Yes, he did. Yeah. When at the end, the last chapter, when you read the last chapter, I don't care if you're a St. Joe fan, a Villanova fan, non-basketball fan, or whatever. Read the last chapter, you will cry. It's sensational. It is a sensational book.
But those are the kind of but Phil, you remember Villanova winning a national championship in '85, even when they did it in the teens. But it was so surprising. It was so exciting because it was the unexpected happened.
Yes.
And the unexpected can't happen anymore in college basketball. Probably not in college football either, but football's a little different sport.
I was just going to ask you that because I know that you're a big college football fan. And I would say like this expansion to 12 teams in football, it was a nice thing. But do you think that next year a team like SMU or who was the other one, Boise State, are they going to get in? Or are the big boys going to say, no, we would rather have Alabama play Georgia a second time and a third time than have those teams? And I don't know enough about it, but I don't think those teams stayed as competitive but as long as you can gamble on the games, they're still going to play those games, right, Howard?
Yep. Well, but the thing is, in football, turnovers can change a game.
Yes.
In basketball, you have too many plays, too many, and now it's everybody can shoot a three.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that's changed.
Man.
Larry Brown would always say, play the game the right way. And no, even in college basketball, and coaches probably have a hard time now too, telling these guys, shoot the three, shoot the three, shoot the three, three and a dunk. How about 4 passes and getting the best shot? And the NBA is a disgrace. It's a joke. It's horrible basketball. But college is starting to go that route. But my problem is, who's the player from Duke that's making $4.5 million this year?
Flag.
Yeah. What's he, 19 years old?
That's what I was just going to say. He's 19 years old.
19, $4.5 million.
And I had to share this with you because you and I are of this ilk. Like, people in a really prominent IRS agent in Philadelphia reached out to me and said, listen, I just need to tell you that 30% of the kids are paying taxes. They're not playing with like the guy down the street. They're playing with the IRS. That this could impact their whole lives. So yeah, they have a lot of money and they take this money and they do silly things. But what about the IRS, or what about having a charitable nature to your money? How about the idea of it changes your world for now, but if you're playing, let's just use $100,000, Howard. You're playing and we're going to give you $100,000, and your career ends, and so you've made $400,000 over your course of your college career. But the day that you leave school, there are no more free sneakers. There's no more free gear. There's no more somebody paying your rent, or in cases like giving you a car, which is all legal, right? You're paying for all these things, and you say, I want to get into banking. Okay, well, we're going to give you a job, and it's going to give you $75,000. No. I live on $100,000 and with no bills. Now you're telling me to live on $75,000. We're messing with their well-being, their mental well-being.
Okay, here's where I have a problem too. Okay, those players are also getting scholarships.
Yes.
Okay, they get scholarships to make more money. I think that those scholarships should be taxed. The value of that scholarship, when you're making that kind of money, you should pay taxes on that scholarship. Because
that's this whole settlement that's going to come this summer. Is okay, and how about should you pay for your medical care? Right, well, right now you don't. So it's a catch. If
it's
everybody
brutal.
says, well, a musician could go to the Philadelphia Orchestra and still be in college. Okay, great, but then they're a paid professional. They're responsible for these bills, and
they're making enough money.
That's where the wrinkle is, and the angst is. And I know that one of the things that you're bringing up is where do we go next?
Yeah, I mean, it's
where do we go?
It's got to stop. It's got to stop. All right, so let me go back to your days at St. Joe. And there were some really great years. Obviously, the year that you got to the Elite Eight when you were 27-0, there were some exciting years. And you mentioned Aaron Bracey's book, which kind of, I guess, goes through a whole bunch of things that happened for you while you were at St. Joe's and your team at St. Joe's. But at the end, and I guess at this point, you can, if you don't want to talk about it, just tell me. The way they handled your departure, college sports has become ruthless. That's another thing. The way they handled your departure was sickening. All those years, and it wasn't even done nicely. Hey, listen, they have the right to change coaches.
Yes.
But not the way they did it, in my opinion and other people's opinions. How much did that hurt, the way they let you go?
It was life altering, right? People will say, well, no, you ended up at Michigan and you got a nice salary. And yeah, but I left my family here. Here's the way I would describe it. Forever and ever and ever. And you know this as well as anybody. That was my I was in the fabric of the institution, and the institution was in my fabric. It was who I
Yes.
was,
Yep.
and it was how I was identified, and that kind of thing. And the way I approach it now, when I say to you, "Yeah, I work there," that's how I answer. I work there,
Yeah.
and it was, yeah, it was, because it didn't just impact me and my family, but assistant coaches, support staff, people that that were, yeah. And um, it's not gone. I will not. I can't let that go,
Right.
because of the impact that it had on so many.
You had an athletic director who came from a big college, and I guess that's just the way they did things at a big college. Well, which Notre Dame, I think. Didn't she come from Notre Dame?
Yes.
So it's a joke. All right, so now and that was bad. And Jay Billis went off on Kevin Willard, went off. So who is more culpable of wrongdoing here? Kevin Willard or Villanova University? Because they tampered with the guy while he was under contract, and he was getting another job while he was still under contract and playing basketball games. Who is more responsible for wrongdoing?
Well, I'm going to go overview and say, because of the calendar, because of this transfer portal coming into play, that and not just Kevin Willard, but other coaches who coach Will Wade coaching McNeese State, to say, yeah, as soon as we end, I'm going right to.
Yeah, but he was honest about it, Phil.
No,
Kevin Willard denied everything.
Yeah, and this that wasn't a great look, and it made me feel bad, because I saw, in doing broadcast this year, I saw a national championship team in Maryland. They were that good. And like Tom Izzo last week would say, I can't think about anything other than giving these kids a chance to say, I played in the Elite Eight, I played in the Final Four. And so I just spoke to a coach today who was headed to San Antonio, who's going to the head coaches meeting. And I said, we have to do better. The profession has to do better. The profession did not win in this case. The profession did not win in this case. And I think that these searches that go on, that so many people have search firms and who they're talking to, when they're talking to people, it's not good for the game. It's not good for the profession. And we must do better. We must do better.
Okay, well, Kevin Willard denied all this when it was kind of out there well before he was done. His team was done playing basketball, so that's a problem. But Villanova, they come off like they're lily white all the time. And being in St. Joe's, you knew all those things. They were the bad guys. I don't know who was the bad guy actually, St. Joe or Villanova. They were bad guys to each other. But what Villanova did is disgraceful. To go after a coach who's, number one, under contract. That's number one. How can you change? You're still under contract. And then before the season's up, they can't deny that. That is wrong, and it's disgusting, and it's disgraceful, in my opinion. And, you ask the kids to do the right thing, and then the schools and the coach do the wrong thing. How can you in any way defend all that? I don't care.
I don't defend any of it. And I think that the rise of these search firms has moved people to be not culpable, and agents. Like, let's go all the way back to the very day that Don DeJulia called me and said, "Okay, and here's your contract." It was one page, Howard. It was one page. Now we have guys like, they have teams of lawyers, and I get it. It's a lot of money. Coaches get a lot of money, but
it's a shame.
Again, and then we have to do better.
Yeah, and then Villanova, they just keep on buying schools, and it's like they're doing it's like they're doing the good for the school. No, they're doing good for themselves.
They're the only ones that own more property on the main line than you. They're the only institution that owns
Let me tell you.
more property than you.
Here's what drives me crazy. The tuitions are probably around $80,000.
It's
It might even be more than that. Okay, families can't afford it. You can't afford to. You got to get loans. You can't afford the tuition. But then they buy up the property. They build dorms. Oh, they're going to help the students. No, they're making money off the dorms. I mean, stop. Will you stop? It's just I can't.
I will say this, Howard. When you drive down Lancaster Avenue right now,
Yep.
right, compared to when you and I used to drive down Lancaster Avenue, it used to be that big SEPTA or the train parking lot.
Yep.
I always think this. Every one of these buildings should be named for Jay Wright because that's what 2 national championships can get you. What that looks like now.
I think they have like $2 billion in endowment money. Phil,
Wow.
I don't know if you know this. I got an honorary doctorate from a college in Wilmington, Goldie Beacom, actually a wonderful place in Wilmington, Delaware. And they learned about me before this all happened. I learned about them. Their tuitions are under $15,000 a year. And they had 7 students in that graduating class that I was the commencement speaker as well. 7 students from overseas who came to that school. And what's amazing about that school, and so I asked the president, I had dinner with the president, I guess maybe a couple months ago. And I said, how do you do that? Well, we use our endowment money.
Wow.
And it's a state, Delaware's a good state. You know, do any of these other schools? It's such bullshit. You know, I don't like. Yeah, it's a podcast, so I could say anything. It's just they're ruthless, and they just keep on increasing the tuition. Hey, listen, I put 5 kids through school, and it cost me a lot of money. And thank goodness I could
Thank God
do that.
you had it.
Yeah, right. And I mean, it was Syracuse, it was USC, it was. You go right down the list. But they're all ridiculous. It's just. I just feel bad for parents. I had this mission. I wanted to talk when Bill Clinton was the president. I had this mission. We got to do something to help parents educate their kids. So I spoke to Bill Clinton 3 times while he was the president. I actually got to him. He says, "Hey, listen, I hear you, but I can't do it. I can't do it all myself." So, you know, the fact that he even listened to me, and he did listen. Most of these guys don't listen, but he did listen. So I give him credit for that. All right, I want to touch on, you know, I can't beat up Villanova anymore. I can't beat up Kevin Willett anymore. But I'm going to tell you right now, I love Jay Wright. We all love Jay Wright. I love what he did at Villanova. I love the way it used to be. But I don't like it now. So I'm sorry. I can't be rooting for you. I just can't be rooting for you. It's not in my soul, in my blood to do that. But a couple of things I want to touch on. How great is it to have your son as a coach in NCAA basketball?
It's beyond words for me now. It's just so. Because, Howard, a lot of what you're talking about, like I know that he started at Niagara making $25,000. He's married, making $25,000, and now they're going to have a child. And you and I both know those calls when he would call and say, "Hey, we're a little behind. Can you help?" to my wife and I. Well, no one ever calls when they're a little behind. They call when they're a lot behind. And to be able to do that was certainly, we were fortunate to be able to do that, to help along the way, and to see him kind of navigate from central Connecticut to Manhattan to Niagara to Delaware to the G League, and then to go up to Bryant on a chance. Like a guy asked him to, along the way they had met, and he said, "If I get a head job, would you come?" And he did, and now he took that school to the NCAA tournament, and to be at those semifinals and finals, and the NCAA tournament game was great. And then he tells me that he took a call from VCU, and I'm thinking, okay, so what's the conversation? Was there for his press conference, and now in the last 24 hours, my other son, Jimmy, will go down there and be on his staff. So I'm excited, and despite all of this, all the other things we've talked about, I've said to him every day, you know what, tomorrow when you wake up, pursue a national championship, because VCU wants for nothing. and they're going to give you that chance to do that. It's just unbelievable. And I'm delighted to be able to say to people, because there was a report that I was joining the staff. The only role that I have is father of the coach. And you well know that my father was the father of the coach. And if I could do it as well as he did, it's going to be great.
That's terrific. We have a question here. One of the people submitted something, and I didn't get to. I don't even think of the Big Five as the Big Five anymore. Now they call it the City Six, or because bringing Drexel in, and Drexel's a good school, and I get all that. They fired two of the coaches at the end of the year from the Big Five, but they don't really play each other anymore. It's not the Big Five championship. It's like an afterthought.
I mean, it's a pod system that they're and they play it at a busy time of the year, if you know what I mean. Like, it's busy in terms of, if you're a college football fan, which not a lot of Philadelphians are college football fans.
Right.
If it's in the midst of that college football season, obviously everybody in Philadelphia is focused on what's happening on Sunday or Monday or Thursday, or how many ever nights they play NFL football now. Mm-hmm. And they made the Big Five fit the conference schedules, if that makes sense.
Right.
It used to be, you can remember, a Saturday night in January, St. Joe Penn. Didn't matter the records.
Oh, it was great.
It was sold out.
At the Palestra, and it was at the Palestra, which was great. Yeah. I mean, in some of the games there, it just unbelievable. All right, and so we should congratulate your son. Was that announcement made that
my son Jimmy is going there?
Yeah.
Penn State announced it. VCU has not announced it yet.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, congratulations.
But I haven't talked to him in like 36 hours because they're always on the phone talking recruiting. I can't even get in there to say, yo, check on your mother.
All right. The other thing that you do, and when I had Fran Dunphy on, and you two guys are very, very involved in Coaches versus Cancer. And Dunphy gives you the credit, more of the credit, for the push and the things you do. And it's a labor of love to help people, isn't it?
Amen. None better than you. You know, it started from nothing, and it was really my big mouth. And I would call him and I would hit him with, yo, Dump, what do you think about this? What do you think about a golf tournament? What do you think about a breakfast? What do you think about a gala? And then we had all these remarkable volunteers, and our wives and our families got involved. And we're not done, though. We haven't done enough yet because we haven't crushed cancer. You and I both know that to beat a bully, you must hit a bully, and then the bully will run away. But if you stand up and say, well, we're going to navigate our way around a bully, that's never worked in any schoolyard or playground anywhere in this country. So we're not done, and more will happen. And as much as Fran and I get a lot of credit, and we understand that, it's the heroes or the people that went in their pocket, wrote a check, gave their time, gave their talent, gave their treasures. But we have a new sheriff in town. People need to pay attention. Fran McCaffrey and his wife are a force of nature in fighting cancer.
Oh, that's great. And unfortunately, he lost his job at Iowa, right?
Yes.
Didn't he lose? Yeah, he lost his job at Iowa. But it is Julia Serving, and I said this to Fran Dunphy, told me one time it was at a lupus fundraiser, and I believe his sister had lupus. He says, we have a platform. Now, obviously, his was much bigger than mine. And we should use our platform to try to help people. And I can't tell you how many years ago. It was so long ago, but I never forgot he said that.
Amen.
And that really is important for people to understand that. People that are in a position to help people should help people. And you feel good. The autism stuff that I did and all the other leukemia and you name it.
Howard, if you think about it, like everybody in your world, everybody in the coaching world, you have to have you have to have that healthy ego. You have to think, you know what, I'm better than the guy down the street.
Yep.
And you keep doing that. So now the idea that someone comes to you and says, "Can you help?" It's a responsibility.
Yes.
Can you help? And you don't have to raise. And I would speak to the people out there. You don't have to raise $100,000 in an event. If you raise $1,000, $100, $10, think about the message that you're giving the young people that are watching you, and the idea that you can make someone or a family's quality of life better for a day. That supersedes any coaching or broadcasting or podcast, or it changes you. It just changes you.
And it makes you feel good. All right, 3 quick questions. Do the Eagles win us back-to-back Super Bowls? I know you're always talking football. It's a
No,
hard question.
they're not going to go back to back because I just think the world today is
hard.
That there I hate the word parity, but there are other good teams. And you want my early pick?
Yes.
Buffalo Bills.
I'll tell you what, they're so close. They're so close.
That's my point.
And I like Sean McDermott too. He's a good guy, and I've stayed in touch.
Although he went to LaSalle College High School, he did not go to the prep.
Oh, okay.
Let's be clear about the prep. And Dunphy did not go to the prep. It was Malvern Prep.
Okay.
There's one powerful school in Philadelphia. The Prep.
I hear you. All right. How bad is the NBA?
It hurts. It really does. It hurts because of being so busy during the year. I very rarely watch a regular season game. Even the Christmas Day bonanza that they put out. But the playoffs, to me, that's spectacular basketball because they're playing night, off night. And I just don't know how it's going to go. I was just at a dinner in Indianapolis, and I just said they asked me if I wanted to go see the Pacers play Charlotte. And I had to ask, are either of those teams any good? Like, are they playoff teams? I don't know. I just don't know the landscape of the NBA. And I just.
Hey, you know what a farce is? That LeBron James runs that team. That's how J.J. Redick got the job, because he said he would take his son, who's a stiff, can't play a little bit, couldn't even start on a bad USC team, and he's in the NBA. That's a disgrace. Yeah. It's just a terrible, terrible product.
It's
terrible product. All right, here's the.
Come on, now. Come on, give me my good one now.
Okay, how big a Springsteen fan are you?
Well, I'm going to give you a number.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a number.
I heard you were a Springsteen fan. Okay.
In my life, I have been to 11 concerts. In my life, 11 concerts. 9 are Springsteen.
The boss is the best.
Including Widener. Guy said to me, "Yo, there's a bar band playing at the Widener Fieldhouse." And 1970, in the spring of it would have been 73. There were 50 people there, Howard. The next night or the night before that, he had been at Westchester, and he was touring local colleges. And I will say this, because you kind of fit this. If everybody in this country worked as hard at their job as he works at his, and you do at yours, a great country would become greater.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, some of the things that happen in this country, but I don't know that we should get into that. All right.
And that's my goal. My bucket list is reduced to 2. I want to meet Springsteen. I just want to ask him how he does it night after night after night. And I always wanted to meet Tiger Woods, just to say, seriously? Like, he was going to go in the Mount Rushmore of people, not golfers, not athletes.
Right.
He was going to become one of the greatest Americans of all time. And for what? Yeah. Those are my 2 bucket lists.
Okay. Well, Larry Maggot, I don't know if you know him, is tight with Springsteen. He does all his concerts. So I'll talk to Larry for you if he comes to town next time.
That would be it.
All right. So we determined how big you are with Springsteen. we've determined that Kevin Willard did what he did. Villanova, two ruthless people getting together. I've determined that. I'm not going to put you in that boat. And the 2003-2004 season with St. Joe is probably one of your best, if not greatest memories.
No question about it.
Okay. Phil, I appreciate it.
And then there's only one thing, Howard.
Yeah.
There's only one thing. Come on now. I can't let you off.
Go ahead.
You got it. You already know the story. 1964. Who walked from Finnegan Playground to the airport to meet the Phillies coming back from Cincinnati, right? The end of the season, they won their last two games that year.
Right.
Right? Who walked with Big Daddy Graham from Finnegan Playground to the airport to meet the Phillies, raising my hand. So when people say, are you over last year or the year before? I look at them and say, I'm not over 64 yet, man.
I cried myself to sleep when, who was it that stole, was it Frank Thomas that stole home plate?
Chico Ruiz stole home with Frank.
Chico Ruiz stole home. Yeah, I think Frank Thomas.
1-0.
Yeah, right. I know. Well, Frank Thomas, I think, was on that. Not Frank Thomas. I mean Frank Robinson. Yeah, it's just, but yeah, right. Chico Ruiz stole home plate. It's just.
But we're back. We're back.
I never liked Gene Mock after that year. He was the manager.
I was on the brink of quitting on this team the other day until the double to right field and then the Schwarber bomb. And I'm like, all right, I'm back. We're going to Broad Street again.
Yeah, well, let me just tell you something about the Phillies, and I'm going to talk about it once we're done after we take care of some things here, that they only score against bad relief pitchers right now.
Yeah,
they got to do better against, you know, they got to do better in the first 5-6 innings. And otherwise, you know, they play Washington, they stink. Playing Colorado, they stink. You know, there's too many. Colorado doesn't care because they still get 3 million people, so it doesn't matter. So they don't have to pay
Big
anybody.
weekend series, though. Big
your Dodgers.
With the Dodgers.
Yep,
And,
we'll see.
And here, you want breaking news?
Go ahead.
Throwing out the first pitch Sunday of the Phillies-Dodgers game, Fran Dunphy.
Wow.
I called the Phillies today. Say, what'd you lose my phone number?
Well, how did they get Fran Dunphy for a Dodger game?
I don't know. He asked if he could pitch to Ohtani. He said, could I throw to Ohtani instead?
I don't think it works that way. Hey, Phil, it's always fun. You did a terrific job for all those years at St. Joe. They did you wrong, but I'm happy to say that you're a friend, and that's the most important thing. All right.
I am right with you. Thank you.
Hey, by the way, I'm rooting against Bruce Pearl too. I just something about he's a fun-loving guy, but I'm just rooting against him. 23-year-old average player on a team. Well, it's a joke. All right, let me take care of some business. What I want to talk about, I do want to talk about the Phillies because I want to talk about the torpedo bats. I want to talk about the tush push and all that nonsense. I want to talk about that. I do want to talk about that. College basketball, I don't even care who wins the damn national championship. I could care less because it's all number one seeds. They're all paying their players a lot of money, and I'm done with it. I'm just done with it. I'm done with it. All right, let's talk about Cut the Cord. Randy, can you put that up there? Cut the Cord with Jason. Cut the Cord with Jason. And I kind of made a little bit of it. Actually, it's an error which could be in your favor. You can save not over $100, hundreds of dollars by switching to Cut the Cord with Jason. They offer an incredible service that will save you money. It'll come out to your house, cut off the cable, which gets more and more and more every month. It's enough already. Set up. He can set you up with less expensive internet service, streaming services that include local and national channels. You're going to get all of them. You'll still get to see all the Philadelphia Pro teams. You'll get to watch whatever you want to watch. What's really cool about Cut the Cord with Jason and the streaming service, you'll be able to watch 4 things on your screen at the same time. And you're going to save, as I said, hundreds of dollars, and you can set up another house with no additional cost. For more information to Cut the Cord with Jason, call Jason at 215-801-5858, 215-801-58. A lot of people have called And you're going to see, I mean, immediately you're going to see how you can save money. All right. Now I want to talk about Piazza, because Piazza does a great job. Piazza Property Pros. You want to transform your backyard, you want a pool, whatever you want. You want the landscaping done, you want your house to look nice, you want everything to look good. Well, you can start by calling Piazza Property Pros. Their expertise, they bring it directly to you. Whether you're dreaming of a new in-ground pool, renovation, whatever it is, 25 years of experience. Really good people. I knew them. They did work for me. They're doing my landscaping. They did the pool. They could turn your property vision into reality. Top-notch craftsmanship, unmatched customer service. Unlike other companies, they don't subcontract, whether it's excavation, hardscaping, fencing, landscaping, whatever, pool maintenance, whatever it is. They do it themselves. Everything is done in-house by their skilled team. I mean, that's who you want to trust, right? So here's a number to call. 610-566-2606. 610-566-2606. 610-566, a lot of sixes in there. 566-2606. You can schedule a free consultation. I had one today, actually, from Piazza. Or go to their website, piazzaoutdoor.com, to learn more. Don't wait. Have fun this summer. And the car I'm driving is an Audi. And where did I get that Audi? I got it from Audi Westchester. Now, because of what's going on in this country, these tariffs, I don't want to get into all that. I do, but I don't. But right now at Audi Westchester, while supplies last, no tariffs on all in-stock vehicles. Audi Westchester is part of Mainline Automotive Group. Well, what that means is you have access to the largest selection of new and pre-owned Audi vehicles in the tri-state area. Stop by Audi Westchester, see their all-new facility located at 1421 Wilmington Pike. I've been in there a few times, and I'm telling you, people are friendly, it's nice, it's a fun place. You go around and look at the cars. Don't wait. No tariffs on all in-stock vehicles while supplies last. Visit AudiWestchester.com. That's AudiWestchester.com. All right. I got it. Let's start with the torpedo bats. Everybody's trying to beat the system anymore. Everybody's trying to beat the system. What's the matter with and here's why I'm against the torpedo bats. Baseball games, they tried to shorten them. Right? They did, and they didn't. Well, the problem is when they tried to shorten them, now with the torpedo bats, you're going to find a whole lot of things. And it's not going to be good because it's going to lengthen the games. If they hit more home runs, the games are longer. And everybody, I love the term years ago, everybody loves the long ball. Well, yeah, that's great. But it extends the games, and it's not fun when everybody's doing it. Just play the game. Just play the game the way it was meant to be played. There's too much Mickey Mousing around. First of all, the bats are harder. They're pressed harder. The wood's harder. The balls are harder. They're going to hit home runs anyway. I don't want the torpedo bats. I do not want the torpedo bats. And as far as the Phillies are concerned, as the first 4 games, they didn't score early, or they didn't score a lot early. Now, they've beaten bad teams. They beat who was it? Washington, bad team. But they didn't really score runs until they got to their bullpen. And if they're a bad team, their bullpens aren't very good. And then they beat Colorado in the opening home game. But they didn't score for the first, 5 or 6 innings. I think they've been behind in every game of the first 4 games. they're going to have to score some runs against some good pitchers, and you're going to have to do it without hitting home runs all the time. I mean, that's really the issue. I mean, it's all about hitting home runs all the time, and that's not the way the game's played. I don't want the torpedo bats. All right, the NFL passed some rule changes. Special teams, kickoff changes a little bit. I don't know that it'll change much for the fans. There'll be more returns for sure, because if you kick it in the end zone, it comes out to the 35. So that'll be a little bit different. But this tush push, it was the biggest story, probably the biggest story at the league meetings. The biggest story. And it shouldn't have been the biggest story. I really don't care what they do. I don't care. If the Eagles are a good enough team, and we know they are a good enough team, there's no question they're a good enough team, they can score without the tush push. And if they can't, so be it. I don't really care. Do whatever you want to do. They're better at it. I think they're better at it because their offensive linemen are so big. But there used to be a rule in football, and they changed that. And I heard why they changed it, and I forgot. You weren't allowed to push players from behind who had the football. You weren't allowed to pull them or push them. I don't know why they changed that, but they changed that. Pushing a guy, honestly, that's not football. I know it's great for the Eagles, and I know it's great for the Eagles. And I don't want to take anything away, but because they do everything they did last year so well, I don't think it would be that big an issue for them. I mean, they're still going to win. They're still going to win games whether they have the tush push or not. It just changes the numbers. Jalen Hurts just gets more touchdowns. I don't really care. But it's too big a deal. They're making too big a deal out of this. Too big a deal. Another thing I want to touch on. The Sixers. They play with a team that is an insult to the fans that come out and watch. Now, if they're playing on the road, that just hurts the teams, those fans on the road, and you really don't care about them. But when they play with a team that's not even a good G League team, not even a good college team, it's a disgrace for the people to pay hundreds of dollars for those tickets at Sixers game, hundreds, and get garbage. It's garbage. I don't want to hear about all the injuries. Tyrese Maxey could play. Stop. He could play. You know, how long is that injury going to last? They just don't want to play him. They want to keep on losing and losing and losing and losing. I mean, it's another tank job. And the NBA should fine them severe, not fine them, penalize them severely. They should take away a draft pick. Fining them doesn't make any money. It doesn't mean anything because they have a lot of money. They should really, they should really take away a draft pick and fine them. It's an insult. And then Joel Embiid, I see, is going to finally they had to take all this time to decide that it's probably going to be arthroscopic surgery. Why couldn't they do that during the season? Like, what are they waiting for? Because he just doesn't want to do it because he didn't want to play the rest of the year? He's got his money. The organization is so bad. It's the worst organization in professional sports in my lifetime in Philadelphia. The Sixers are an embarrassment. And here's what I suggest to the fans. You were promised a good product. You weren't promised players would play every night. They kind of conned you that Joel Embiid was going to play. He played 19 games this year. I think somebody ought to organize a class action suit against the 76ers to get money back for the overpriced tickets that overpricing that people have paid. I think they should get money back. And there should be a class action suit. I don't know if they could win it, but they should get some money back. They told season ticket holder, we're not going to raise the prices for 2 years. Wait a minute, you've overcharged them, but you're still charging them you're overcharging them for the tickets. Randy, what was the audio? And you can talk to me. What was the audio that I gave you this afternoon? Something I wanted to play, and because there's so many things that we talked about that I wanted to
Loyalty versus business decisions.
Loyalty by
Kevin Willard.
Jay Billis. Yes, I said I was going to play Jay Billis. We got to hear this before I go tonight. Jay Billis lambasted Kevin Willard. The fact that he lied about not really getting another job while he was still coaching and under contract. What is a contract? Still had a contract beyond this year. So Kevin Willard and Villanova is just as culpable for what they did too. Let's hear from Jay Billis.
Or the same. What you heard from Kevin Willard from the podium in his press conferences was, I haven't talked to my agent. I don't know what's going on. So I don't know. He said the exact same thing when he was at Seton Hall and then went to Maryland. The exact same thing. This is the same playbook. And I hate to break this to coaches, but your agent is your representative. So whatever your agent is doing, you are doing. That's the way agency works. But to Seth's point, I don't have a problem with Kevin Willard making this move. That's great. Any coach should look to better himself or herself based upon the circumstances and based upon business. These are business decisions. But one thing you don't hear from the NCAA literati, from the administrators, from Charlie Baker, you don't hear tampering. Nobody's saying there was tampering here. This is a coach under contract that a member institution tampered with without permission from the University of Maryland. You don't hear about loyalty. Where was Kevin Willard's loyalty here? He made a decision to go to Maryland and signed a long-term contract. Where's the commitment that we hear on the part of players? And what about going through adversity? Like, he didn't want to go through adversity, the adversity of, he couldn't stay in New York for an extra day. Like, come on, man. We say all this stuff about players, but we don't apply that to coaches. That's a contradiction to the point of hypocrisy. I'm not saying, hey, don't go. Go ahead. But let's not apply these ridiculous rules to the players. It's just not right. And Seth's right. I've been saying this for over a decade now. Sign the players to contracts. Negotiate with at arm's length with the players, or negotiate a collective bargaining agreement.
You know, here's what I want to say, and I agree with most of it. You know, the one thing he says, he signed a long-term contract. Wait a minute, he signed a contract. I mean, how do these guys just get out of contracts? You know, he signed a contract. He don't sign a long-term contract. I have a bad taste in my mouth about Kevin Willard, the new Villanova coach, already. Who knows? He's not loyal to the people. He should have been loyal to Maryland, and he was not loyal to Maryland. He signed a long-term contract. You want the security? It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. You know, thanks for all the comments too. There's a lot of comments here. Somebody said JT Realmuto is done. Yeah, then they can't sign him to another contract. All right, we do have somebody. Yeah, let's take this genius. Let's take a caller, and we might have to end it on this. Cowboy Jim. Hey, Nitwit, what's going on?
Oh my
what do
God,
you want to talk about tonight?
A lot of things, but I'll keep it short. I'm just saying that the tush push and you Philadelphia fans and you're ridiculous. If the Dallas Cowboys had the tush push and ran it to perfection, okay, you would lead the parade to the stink and be calling for it to be banned. Because
listen, I don't care whether they get rid of it. I'm stated that. I let them do what they want. If they get rid of it, I don't care. They get rid of it. Let's just play football. I'm okay with that. If they get rid of it, I'm okay with that. It's not even a big deal. I'm not advocating, leave them alone, let them go. No, either way, I don't care. It's, the people that say it's not football, it's football, but it's not football.
It's not football. It's rugby. There's already a rugby.
I don't know how to call it rugby. I mean, they're talented enough. They have the talented people to do it. But I don't care what they do with that because they're a good enough team to be able to win games without that. If they can't score from the 1 yard line and they need the tush push, then they're not a good enough team. But they are a good enough team to be able to do that without that play.
All right, fine. And how do you feel about Jerry Jones cutting out the middleman to talk to Micah Parsons? How do you feel about that?
Cutting out.
He's talking to just Micah Parsons. He wasn't talking. He doesn't even know the name of his agent.
Of his agent. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me.
He did it with Zeke. He did it with Zeke. He did the same thing. He wants to talk to the players face to face. You're okay with that?
I'm okay with that because, first of all, some agents I'm not big fans of, and they just muddy the waters up sometimes. Hey, listen, if a player the agent's already told Micah Parsons, who I think is, he's in love with himself, already told him what he's worth. So he's going to go back to his agent after Jerry Jones talks to him and say, hey, listen, this is what he wants to give me. This is what he wants me to do. And what do you think? So he's going to go
breaking the rule? Is he breaking the rules?
No,
union rules?
No, there's no rule. There's no
rule to that.
No.
And how about these Philly fans that say they want Micah Parsons? Well, couldn't you have taken Micah Parsons in the first round rather than Devontae Smith?
I'd rather have Devontae Smith.
What?
Yes.
You'd rather have Devontae Smith over
Yes.
Micah Parsons?
Well,
why?
first of all, do you see what the Eagles do to Micah Parsons? He's invisible. In most of the games, he's invisible. Stop with your Cowboys. You know what? I've had enough. Get out of here.
See you, King.
Get out. We're going to end it on that. That's enough of that. Micah Parsons. First of all, he's a phony. He came to the Sixers game, and then he begged Jason, who were playing Boston, I'm a Sixers fan, and then he begged Jason Tatum for a jersey, and Tatum gave him a jersey. He's a fraud. Micah Parsons is a fraud. Enough of that. Hey, thanks to everybody that joined, and thanks to our sensational partners and sponsors, Piazza Property Pros. Cut the cord with Jason. I'm telling you, you got to call. Hundreds of dollars on your cable bill. Now, who doesn't want that? Piazza Property Pros, people that know what they're doing, whether it's a pool, whether it's landscaping, whatever it may be. And you want a really nice car? I've been driving an Audi for a while. I have two Audis. Really nice cars. An Audi of Westchester. It's a great facility. The people are really nice there. You're going to have fun looking for a car, even if you don't get the car. But you ought to stop in while they still have, and they have a ton of inventory right now without the tariffs, and that's a good thing too. So thanks to all those people. Thanks to you for joining us. We'll be back Saturday morning at 8, and we're going to, I'm all choked up here. We're going to try to take more calls on Saturday morning. And thanks to everybody that sent in messages. Great show, Ted. Great show. I always try to have a fun show. Pat, also the same thing. People, Martelli's great to talk to, and he's honest. That's the other thing. When you have people on, you want them to be honest. All right, see you Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. Now that's live, but as we know on podcasts, it lives forever. That's why if you want to advertise, howardeskin.com, let me know. Here is much more cost effective than radio, because the radio business is not in good shape right now, and you're overpaying for anything, not everything, but almost anything that you get there. You're not here. Hey, have a great night, a great day, or whatever it is, and we'll see you on Saturday at 8. Take care.